it's Alex here, back with another video. Today I thought I would talk about how I knew I was transgender. So my story begins really around the age that I started to talk. It was clear from a young age, 2 or 3, that I had a strong dislike for anything that was supposed to be girly. I remember in preschool and kindergarten, I had to wear dresses every day, and I hated it so much that eventually my mom compromised and I only had to wear a dress every other day, which honestly I remember being such a huge win for me. And then if you fast forward to sort of like my later childhood, around the age of 9 or 10, I started really being a tomboy. I remember in 4th grade, I got these Vans skateboard sneakers, and I was over the moon because they were my first like boy shoes, and I was just so happy. And it was at that point in time that I really started embracing the more masculine aspects of my identity, wearing like boy clothes and cutting my hair short, although not that short, just like to the ear. Wasn't a good look, but yeah, so I will insert a picture of how I looked. And then puberty hit. Honestly, puberty was like a disaster for me. I remember finding a puberty book that my parents had planned on giving to me, but I found it before they had given it to me. And I just remember looking at the guys' bodies and being like, when will my penis grow? Like, when is my voice going to drop? And it never really occurred to me that I wasn't built that way. I thought that when puberty hit, I was going to develop like the other boys. Because at that point, I was playing with my friend who was a guy on the playground at recess every day, passing the football, playing dodgeball with all the other guys. And I just thought I was one of the guys. When puberty really took hold, it was 6th grade, and I was really unhappy. I remember getting my period, and my chest started developing, and I was still a sporty kid, a sporty girl, but I just was so unhappy. Like, I used to pray that one day I would wake up and my body would change, and my body would go through male puberty, and then I would be a boy. And I just didn't know what was wrong with me. So it must have been in 7th or 8th grade when I found a documentary on YouTube about transgender kids. I think there were 4 kids in the video, one of them being Jazz Jennings, who's now a popular trans activist, but the other one was a 11 or 12-year-old boy named Bailey. And that video, I just recently found it again on YouTube, but that video changed my life because I used to wonder, what made me the way that I was. And then I just tried to fit the language to how I was feeling. And I remember searching, I feel like a boy in a girl's body. And this documentary came up and the word transgender popped up. And in that moment, I knew. Now, obviously, my coming out story is a little more complicated. I didn't come out at that point, right when I figured out what being transgender was, because I don't know, I honestly hadn't accepted it, that was really who I was, and I also felt kind of hopeless that even if I did come out, something good was going to happen of it. I didn't think that I would ever be able to afford hormones, or that I would have family who would support me through my transition. So my story kind of went on the back burner until the later stages of high school, and that's when I started talking about these feelings again. But it was a documentary on YouTube, and that is how I figured out what being trans was. And I am very thankful that I had the resources to Google and to look up what I was feeling, because as an adolescent, your brain's constantly changing and constantly evolving, and back then in the early 2010s, there weren't a whole lot of people talking about trans people. I had never met a real life trans person until I went to college. So honestly, media was the best way for me to connect and find other people who were sharing their story. So that is how I figured out what being transgender was and how I came to my own realization that I am trans. I hope this was helpful. I just wanted to put myself out there because I know that people go through their own different processes, but that was how I sort of figured it out. When I saw the YouTube video, I was like, everything makes sense, you know, this explains everything. This is exactly how I've always felt since I was a little kid, and all the pieces fit together kind of thing. And I know that everyone's story is different, but that is just my story, and I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and follow me on my other social media.